Hi, I'm Jonathan Farmer, fly designer for OPST and custom tire, Midnight Sun Custom Plies. And we're here in the office today, shooting a few tutorials. Spin up a few for you guys today. So we're going to start off with the graboid leech. Something you may have seen, something you may not, but here's how to tie it. So we're going to start off with Syneos Fusion Dub, Eat a Peach. And we're going to move into Ice Dub UV Lavender from Hairline. And Ice Dub UV Purple. And then last but certainly not least, Syneos Fusion Dub Electric Grape. The flash we're going to be using in this fly is from Cascade Crest Tools. It's the Crinkle Mirror Flash in pink. Silly legs in the bottom of this fly are going to be Chacone's Bard Micro Crusher legs. I'm going to use a 7/32 plummeting tungsten bead from Hairline in metallic purple. Going to use a Groovy Bard bunny strip from Hairline. It's the standard 1/8 inch cut. It's the white black Bard over lavender and fuchsia, I believe. Might be purple and fuchsia, but this is the strip. It's got a lot of really cool color. It just kind of pops. We're also going to use Syneos Freckled Predator Wrap UV Freckled Gold. We're also going to use Purple Lady Amherst on the flank of this fly. And the head is also going to be rabbit. Tied on a 32mm shank, steelhead shank from OPST. And we're going to use Power Pro braided line in a 50-pound test. I'm going to start off with bead on the front of the fly, like so. We're going to be using Vivus Power 140. This seems to be one thread that I can't break on a regular basis. It takes a lot to break this Vivus 140. We're going to take, oh, I don't know, I'm terrible at guessing, lengths. I guess we can measure it out on our dubbing card here, but I don't know, I'm going to take about 5.5 inches of the Power Pro 50-pound, and we're going to tie this in just in the back. Get it where we want it. Keep it on top. We'll go about 3/4 or so. Leave ourselves some room for the head so we don't get too bulky up front. We're just going to fold this back and give it a nice crank. So we've got this little bulge which is going to prevent this from slipping through and the fly falling apart. I'm going to run it back up, just open turns and smash all that down and come back. And just to make absolutely sure We're going to use some crazy glue, just all purpose, and give it a little drop right there. This stuff dries pretty quickly. Be careful not to glue your fingers together. I've done that I don't know how many times. Just be careful working with that stuff. Make sure this is nice and smooth coming out the back. We're going to take our Groovy Bard bunny strip from Hairline. We're going to go ahead and measure out our length, and we're going to want this to stick out, oh, I don't know, about 6 millimeters or so past the braid, just so it gives you enough to work with when you're putting the hook on this fly. Separate that out real nice. We're going to tie that in. We're going to give about 6 wraps to tie that down, nice tight wraps. Then we're just going to lock it off here up front. Make sure you've got that bunny right where you want it. We're going to fold it back and get that out of our way. We're going to start building our composite loop. Start off with a little bit of a hot spot with the Eat a Peach in the back. You can really do this in any color you want. I like a hot spot in most flies. Blue and black, I have a tendency just to keep blue and black, but we're gonna move on into this lavender. We're just using this kind of as a crinkly scrim. This is going to be I don't know, about 1.5 inches or so, even closer to 1.75 inches. Little composite stack here. We're going to take about 1/2 inch or so of the Predator wrap. And I like to basically cut about half of that little hank. I like to cut it in half for this fly, because we're not trying to build a big shoulder in this fly. It's not the desired effect. So we're going to set this down about 80-20 right here. I'm going to spread it out real nice. It looks like I've got some of the purple barred Predator wrap. I think it's black barred purple. Yeah, that's what it is. We're just going to go ahead and add this in because it was laying on the table, and we'll add a little nice little purple and front of this fly. We're just going to kind of overlay those and kind of mix them together. Now we're going to take our purple UV ice dub, and again we're just going to, it's going to be a really thin scrim to hold this all together. So we're just going to lay that down. Now we're going to take the Fusion dub to add that kind of brilliant color to the front of this fly. And we're going to use the full length. I'm not going to cut this in half or anything. I'm just going to find that common length. Just lay this right down on top there. So now we're going to make our loop. we're going to run this, I don't know, leave probably 10 millimeters of that shank for our head. Go ahead and give it a little bit of wax. Stick that off to the side. Now we're going to load up our loop. Just like so. Find our dubbing spinner. Stick that in. Just going to kind of make sure that everything's nice and happy, spread out. Again, we're not gonna pack this really tight. It's just gonna be our color in the bottom. We're gonna spin this up and start to pick it out. This Vivus 140 is really tough. This is a super sharp dubbing needle, and you can really get in there and not have to worry about breaking that thread. Big fan of this stuff. I'm rough on these flies. We're just going to brush it out. This doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And so now this fly doesn't take any water because I don't want to pack everything in real tight. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of find that common, that neutral zone. We're just going to go ahead and part everything. We're going to start wrapping it. And as we wrap it, we're not exactly even doing touching turns all the way up. We're kind of more or less palmering it up the shank. Because we want to cover all this ground and we don't want to build too much bulk into this fly. We're just going to turn everything on all the way up. We've left ourselves, I'd say about 10 millimeters from the front. Tie it off. I really like to tie it off forward with about 4 wraps, and then we're going to come back over just to lock it in. And make one turn behind that loop, lock it off. That goes out of the way. Really tighten everything down. Now we're going to take our toothbrush. I just buy these at the grocery store. Get them in like a 2-pack. It's hard to find firm toothbrushes anymore. So when you find them, I don't know, I'd buy 6 or 8 of them. But, so now we're kind of brushed out, everything's free. We didn't pack anything in here real tight so nothing gets too tangled up. And we're just going to fold all that material down. So it's kind of almost like a spay hackle really. And then we're going to bring that rabbit strip over the top. We're going to tie that down. Give about 3 good turns. Pull it back. Wrap in front. Make another. You can really crank on this Vivus and not have to worry about it. Tie that down. Smash it real good. So now we still have that hackle on the bottom. This fly is going to really cast well, because once we start getting into like 7/32 tungsten bead heads, we don't want to add too much bulk into the fly because we still want to make it castable. If a fly isn't easy to cast, then I don't want to fish it. We're going to take the long fibers off of this Lady Amherst. And so if you're looking to tie this fly and you're in your shop, just kind of be selective on the one that you want. And we're going to take some of the longer fibers on this fly. We're looking for about 6 to 8 of them usually. So how many we got? Got 5. Pluck a couple more. Just gonna go 6. We're gonna keep this one pretty sparse. And start to your thumbnail. Just gonna go down. We'll keep them from sticking together, and we'll splay them out. Tie these in on the flank. And kind of pull them down and separate them out. Kind of want these tinted down on this fly. Do the other side. And again, we're looking for about 6 to 8. It depends on your personal preference on how sparse or how sparse you want to dress this fly. So there's our 6. Again, we're gonna just break those little barbels up a little bit so it doesn't want to stick together. Measure it out against the other side. Just tie that in, kind of tinted down. Trim. So now we're going to grab our crinkle mirror flash from Cascade Crest Tools. And I'm just going to pull out one of these strands. I'm going to fold it in half because we don't want a ton. I don't like a ton of flash in my flies. Put a do them. I'll tie a ton of flash, but this is going to be subtle. We're going to tie that in on the side. Let's grab both of them, come underneath. We're going to tie that off on the other side. Just going to line that up with Lady Amherst. We're going to cut one just slightly shorter than the other. Now for our silly legs. We're going to take 2 Chacon's Bard micro crusher legs, purple and clear. We're going to fold them together and just cut them in half. We're going to tie those in underneath. You do this all at the same time. We're just going to get them all to lay flat so they're not all clumped up. Go ahead and tie those in. Trim your butts. Now we're just about ready to finish this fly off. So I like to use the Stonefo clips. They seem to have a lot of holding power. You can drop these things on the floor, loaded with pine squirrel, and still doesn't come out. So we're just gonna cut this off the hide. I like to use about the whole entire clip's width. You just kind of eyeball it with how much room you have left. We've got our clip loaded with the Ruby Bard bunny strip. Okay. I'm just going to create a dubbing loop. We're going to lightly, really lightly, just give this a little touch of wax because I don't want too much wax to build up. We're going to stick this in the clip, keep the tips real nice and close. And then we're just going to spin it. If you put too much wax on here, it's going to spin down on top of itself, and you're really going to have to work to kind of pick that out. That's why I don't like a ton of wax. Pull everything back out of the way. part it. And we'll just start turning it on. And again, we're not trying to pack this super tight. I want this to be still going to have a lot of presence. It's still going to have a lot of volume, but it's going to be easy to cast for a tungsten bead head. Personally, I don't like using lead. I don't like tossing the lead into rivers. We're going to just whip finish. I like to give a couple of whip finishes. I'm not going to have a whole lot of glue on that fly, but there's a graboid leech. There she is. Yeah, I fish this thing for rainbows, coho, kings, steelhead. So we're gonna go over real quick how to put a hook on the Mini Me Graboid. We have our loop coming out of the back, and we're just going to pull that pine squirrel strip forward. We're going to take the 30-pound Power Pro and slide it through the eye of an OPST size 6 swing hook. This is my absolute favorite hook for trout. It's a great trout hook. We're going to open up this loop. We're going to come over the top, and we're going to make one twist to the right. Now we have a full twist. We're going to come straight down. We're going to make one more twist. That'll be twisting to the left. It'll be left to right, and we're going to come right back over the top. So now we have two twists, or loop back over the top. We're going to take that pine squirrel, and we're going to slide it right through that loop. And then holding the pine squirrel and the hook together at the same time, we're just going to slide that loop down, and it's going to find a home right down inside that pine squirrel. We're not going to pull it real tight. And now we're just going to free up anything that got trapped. I'm sure for you at home this is hard to see. We're just going to pick any of that out. We're going to pull it tight. So that way everything is nice and tidy. And there you have it. And now you have a simple little way to rig a stinger hook on the back of a fly that you can change out if need be. And yeah, that's how you rig a stinger hook on a Mini Me Graboid or a full-size Graboid.